Hello and welcome to Rauta City 5. Once again, we have 5 different albums, 5 different styles, and all of these are full albums. Mostly the focus is on black metal, but there are a little bit of different, like death metal, for instance, and black and thrash. Let's do this in alphabetical order, and first we head to France with Adoperta Tenebris, Oblivion, the Forthcoming Ends. This is the second album by this band that was founded in 2010. And while so many French black metal bands operating in the more melodic field tend to be the kind of a folkier stuff or just super cheesy and having the kind of a French style to melodic style, this one is a little bit different. To be honest, based on how the melodies are done and how the music is composed, how the whole album is effectively done, this is not exactly sounding very French. I mean, this is more like a release that could have been coming out from various places, to be honest. There's no signature French style, if you will, but nonetheless, melodic black metal it is, mostly the second wave. Nothing here, however, is in fact very catchy or really good, or even that cheesy part, which is sometimes very true when you're talking about the French black metal. Everything here is pretty much like a lukewarm experience. Let me put it this way. There are parts where you're feeling like, okay, this is gonna really do a good impression on me with the melodic stuff, but it's mostly like kind of a leftover songs, leftover melodies from, say, better bands. The thing here is, there's nothing out of ordinary with this album, both good and bad, but the songs are not very good enough. Everything from production to vocals and, well, the compositions is like, yeah, you're on your way there. That is work in progress. It's not a bad album by no means, but something is just very, very basic when it comes to those melodies. I mean, there's a big step between really good one. When you hear these kind of a killer melodies with like, yes, this is nailing it, this is catching, this is memorable, on all that stuff. Whereas Adoperta is just like, yeah, I kind of get where you're going, but they're not really nailing it. However, if you're a big fan of melodic black metal, give it a chance, but other than that, there are way better bands in that department. Then we have a Finnish newcomer, Ancient Obscurity. Technically speaking, not there's so much a newcomer in terms of like having multiple different releases out there, but this is the first album, already came out in 2021, so yes, a little bit year late here, as much as with that Adoperta. This is also melodic black metal, and this is also having a little bit of a twist to it. This is technically speaking a side project by one guy who has multiple different bands. This is just one of them. And the good thing here is, this is way more catchier and more memorable than Adoperta. Like a couple of things. First of all, the melodies are like good. They're like unpolished diamond in the essence. Not exactly the next Seal on Viholinen, but there's something really, really nice happening with all those melodies. The tempo is often fast, and there's nothing fundamentally new and different in terms of black metal out there, but this is just doing the melodic black metal the right way. Now, another cool thing here is, including this Christmas elf, is that these female vocals here used remind me of early Arcanum. So there's kind of like this, I don't know, shamanistic take on the female vocals. It's almost like some spirit in the woods yelling your name or whatever creatures, and it's kind of creating this interesting vibe to it. So it's not just repeating one good set of melodies in various different forms and variations, but creating an album that is a little bit diverse and doesn't really last too long. I mean, it's able to quit before it gets boring or repetitive. And in my opinion, this is something that is definitely stirring up. Maybe the next album is right here. We don't know yet, but a good start for a rather new project. Definitely worth checking out if you're into melodic black metal to begin with. Then we have a death metal from France by a band called Death from Above. Not the most original name. I mean, there are other bands with the same name. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first album by the band, also released in 2021, Altered Dimension. Everything here seems like, okay, this is some kind of a hypocrisy thing, or, you know, dimensions, UFOs, aliens, or whatever. Everything is here pretty much like vague, like what is this all about? At least it's not about piled up corpses bleeding or I don't know, scattered around, headless and all that stuff. So very cosmic, alien, like extraterrestrial and all that stuff. This could be interesting if the music was good, but in my opinion this is a good example how you fail doing an interesting death metal when all the pieces are right there on the table. Technically speaking, this could be a French version of Murkskog. There's a little bit of technicality, there's diverse in the compositions, there are melodies, there are faster parts, there's intensity, there's aggression, but the production is kind of lame, and so are the vocals. They're like halfway through with their growler parts, and when it comes to the individual riffs and melodies, everything is goddamn lukewarm or even less. So it's almost like you have the right idea, but you're composing everything a little bit like flawed ways. So, or Murkskog, for example, is a great band. This is more like, yeah, not getting there. I mean, I kind of hear what the guys are trying to do. They're trying to do it somewhat melodic, definitely dynamic, and somewhat technical, fast-paced, and melodic, and aggression. So there's a lot of different things going on, and basically this could be really it. But to me, it sounds like a demo, work in progress, just like too hastily done. And instead of focusing a couple of demos and figuring out which kind of a production and which kind of compositions to fit in, they're right head on towards the full album. I once again say this, compare what Death did in the career. They had lots of demos over a span of years before entering the studio with the full album, and when it came out it was wow, mind-blowing. But a lot of bands seem to skip this one, and that's how their first or even second or third album sound much like a lengthy demo. Then we have this Chilean black metal solo project called Ründgard. This used to be under a different moniker, but here it is with the current name. Stronghold of Majestic Ruins being the album title. This one lasts only for about 25 minutes, and it's a combination of raw rent, or at least crude black metal combined with dungeons and synthesizer parts. And it's actually pretty good. It's almost like raking of the early 90s when the production was a little bit so. It's not clear or clean or, you know, highly produced. It's much like this album cover or this CD print here, like very pixelated and just grainy. Grainy is even more than pixelated. So it's more like, okay, this is this Xerox copied band style, but it's very, very fitting for this old school stuff, much like the layout here. So it's all about being crude black metal riffs combining these dungeons and elements. And it's actually pretty nicely sounding. It's not super raw, but it's kind of a fitting not to go all the way to the very primitive end when you have synthesizers and you don't want to just sound goofy. Not exactly great, but definitely going to the better direction with this kind of given style. So I hope this side project is not just forgotten after this one. Also 2021 release, definitely worth checking out if you don't mind crude black metal to begin with. Last but not least, we headed to Finland with Vitriolic, and this is Renegade Ascension, the debut album by this Tampere-based band. This is a combination of melodic guitar riffs and leads and black and speed metal elements. So it's reminding me of, especially earlier, Destroyer 666, but definitely having more, I guess, heavy and speed metal elements than just black and trash. There are lots of trash parts, but certainly some riffs are very speed metal-like. I mean, it's kind of a, you know, I mean, if you think about the early Sarcophago or Bathory, you will think that this early wave of, first wave of black metal bands, they are kind of a trashy. Some could say that these kind of albums could be just considered black trash if they came out today instead of the pioneers of black metal genre. But Renegade Ascension definitely has more this trash and speed to it, not just, you know, doing the first wave of black metal. And like I said, with those melodic parts and all that stuff, it kind of reminds me of Destroyer 666. But what really lacks a punch here, a couple of things. First of all, the drums. I mean, they kind of are aggressive and fast pounding and all that stuff, but because of the production, because of the mixing, I guess, it seems like they are lacking some power. The guitar sound is actually really, really good. I mean, it's not super polished or all that stuff, but it has the strength and the kind of a feeling you're looking for on a black trash album. Vocals, unfortunately, are the other weaker point. I mean, it's more like there is this hatred and there is this aggression, but it's like somewhere like lost in the mix, or maybe they are not just shouted loud enough, like lacking passion, or maybe done in a hangover state. I don't know. They're not bad, but they could be a lot better, and same goes for drums. When it comes to actual songwriting, these songs are pretty much asking. The only downside is they're more or less carved from one and the same tree. So very much reminding one another, and there could be more variation. But it's plat trash with speed, so you can't really ask too much about it. I mean, the genre to begin with is kind of limited. Nonetheless, this is pretty cool start for the band. So the best ones on these piles would be Ründgard, and this Ancient Obscurity and Vitriolic. If I had to pick a favorite with Con pointing at my head, I guess I would go with Ancient Obscurity. Having not exactly the best name out there, but it's probably the catchiest and most well-made album of this pile. Now, links are provided in the description box, so if I got you interested in any of these bands, check out the music and decide for yourself whether or not these are your cup of tea. And don't come bitching at me like, he didn't describe the music well enough. That's your job to do if I got you interested. The music is right there for you, and if you don't like something, too bad. I mean, if you did, good for you. This is Rauta, this is Indie 5. See you soon with more reviews coming your way.